Welcome to the Women's National League Wrap for Series 1. I'm joined here by Shauna and Kieran. I think we'll just get right into it because it was some weekend of games. We'll start with Shelburne versus Bose. Shelburne only narrowly really saw off Bose. And it was a credit to Bose. They really stepped it up against the league champions. Shauna, what did you make of the game?
Yeah, it was the weather was pretty good for the game. I think both teams looked like they were still finding their feet. Defensively, I think Shells will be happy. You know, there was very few chances from Bose, and they, kept a clean sheet, which last season it was these kind of games where they were maybe conceding a goal or two. So that's definitely a positive. But in terms of on the attacking front, I think we have to be a bit more critical for a team that, are the champions. I thought they kind of lacked intensity and creativity for large spells of the game until Gloria Douglas and Abby Larkin came on and injected that bit of pace up front and put pressure higher up the pitch. Rachel Kelly was outstanding for Bowles. She kept him in it numerous times. And in fairness to Bowles, I think I counted 6 changes, 6 new players in the starting 11. So it'll take them a bit of time to kind of, get to know each other and find a way of playing together. So, I think it's too early for them to say too much about them, but, definitely added to their attacking artillery this year. And I think over time we'll start to see, more come from them.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Moving on to DLR Waves now against Treaty. Kieran, just a masterclass performance from the Waves, really, and a good few debuts for them as well.
Yeah, it certainly was a masterclass, and I think they have the best squad in the league, really, in terms of squad depth. They probably have about 3 players for every outfield position. I was watching the game, and Sarah McKevitt was one of the debutants you mentioned there. She was fantastic. She got 3 assists. I think one thing I noticed about them was last season they created a lot of chances. They weren't always clinical, but here they were very clinical. They could have even got more, but they created chances and were very clinical. It was scintillating football at times. Greg Kelly will be very happy that they scored from a few set pieces as well. I think they have so many options going forward. It might be hard to keep everyone happy at times, but there seems to be such a team spirit in the camp that I think that won't be too much of an issue. But yeah, look, difficult day for Treaty. Obviously, it's probably going to be a difficult season for Treaty. They finished bottom of the league last season. I don't think they would have come into this game expecting to get anything. I don't think they would. It was obviously a busy day for goalkeeper Michaela Mitchell. Look, I think the top 4 games, the games against the last season's top 4 for Treaty are kind of not write-offs, but maybe learning experiences, and they'll be looking lower down the table for where they're going to get their points. And I think their aim would be maybe to finish 7th or 8th rather than 9th or 10th. But yeah, DLR Waves, they're a quality side, and they're a young side. I think there's only a few players in there. Catherine Cronin hasn't signed back yet, so there's only a few players who are only kind of over 25, 26. So, I look at them, they're a young side, but they kind of have that bit of experience of playing together now at this stage. They've been together for about 3 seasons, and, they're a very good attacking side, and they've started finishing chances now, so that's very dangerous for everyone else in the league.
Yeah, and sure, look, will we talk about Joy Ralph as well? Youngest goal scorer and youngest player for DLR Waves, some game that she had at the weekend.
Yeah, she made the step up to senior level look easy. Look, Joy Ralph's a player that, she's been in the underage setup for Ireland and DLR Waves for a while now, and everyone I've spoken to the DLR Waves camp has pretty much said just keep an eye out for her. She's going to be a fantastic player. It's not easy playing with a load of adults when you're 16 years old. She's only just turned 16, but look, she made it look relatively simple. I think as long as her game time's managed, she probably that's probably the role for her for the start of the season anyway, kind of coming on as an impact sub. That's probably the best role for her. But yeah, look, she was fantastic, and she'll remember her day with 2 goals. And I think that's one thing DLR don't lack is an abundance of attacking talent. They could nearly put out 2 teams to challenge for the league, such as their squad depth.
Yeah, brilliant. Looking at Cork City now against Galway, Shauna, Galway were victorious 3-0, clean sheet. Was it the result that you expected?
Yeah, I think I'd have to argue about DLR being the best team from last season and say I actually think the team of the weekend was Galway. The games I watched, I just thought they were brilliant in terms of the movement. The two signings, I think Taylor Rutland and it was excuse the pronunciations, Lisa Guerrero in midfield were brilliant and very technical players, really add to that squad. And last year, I think I gave out a lot about the fact that Galway kept moving Lindsay McKee to the wing. And yesterday, 2 days ago, was it? She played in a more central role up top for them and just really made them sing. Like, was that target player, played lots of little 1-2s, getting in the box, bringing other people into the game. I just thought as well, Jenna Slattery, they really complement each other up front. She could have, had her choice of clubs in the off season and definitely based on their performance at the weekend made the right choice. And then Sav at the back as well. I think they played 3 at the back and that can often be a tough way to play for defenders. You're always worried about losing the ball or how you should play, but Sav just made it look so easy, added to the attacking threat. Wasn't just kind of hoofing the ball, stepping into midfield. I really, really was impressed with them. I just thought that they looked very, very solid. The structure was brilliant. When they lost the ball, they were, winning it back quickly. Cork did have a few chances. They forced Cork to kind of, I suppose, take their chances from outside the box. And in terms of how Galway started last year to this year, if they can continue that form, I think they'll become a top 14.
Yeah, I agree. I think Galway are definitely a team to look out this season. Moving on to now Peamount against Sligo, another fairly dominant display from the Peas. And, it's probably not the first game that Sligo wanted for the WNL, but what was it about Peamount's performance, Kieran, that just put them in control?
Yeah, as you said there, Sligo was probably the worst possible start away to Peamount, a team that can really put teams to the sword. I think Peamount are just such a technically good side going forward. James O'Callaghan uses this word frenzy in the box. I was talking to him once. He might not be happy with me giving away his tactics, but he uses the word frenzy in the box when the ball goes in. There's kind of this manic energy in the box. They're so good at that. Peamount. They're so good at kind of just managing the attack and play. We saw them put 5 goals on Shelburne, who went on to win the league last season. They just have the ability to. Where some teams would win 1 or 2-0, they're probably going to win 5 or 6-0. And I look through their team. Look Stephanie Roach. We don't even need to talk about it. Obviously, everyone will be familiar with her. A fantastic player. Has the ability to drop back into that kind of number 10 position. Anya Gorman, I think, is one of the most underappreciated talents in Irish football. She's like, you don't get over 100 caps for Ireland by accident. And she's been a phenomenal player. I think she's obviously going to have a bit of a battle on her hands to keep that right wing back position for Ireland with Jess Dew coming through. But you look at, she was top scorer last season, and she's going to be. I think she was top scorer in one of the first Women's National League seasons in the past 10 years. But she's going to be right up there again. They're just so clinical, Peamount. They're just the kind of team. If you give them any chances, they're probably going to score one of them. If you don't even need to give them multiple chances. And Sligo, obviously, it's a learning curve for them. Sligo kind of came in a bit of an unknown. I don't think anyone's really expecting much for Sligo. Probably a few wins along the way against the lower sides in the league will probably be the expectation of Sligo. But at the same time, Peamount. It was just ruthless, and to be honest, I think we'll see a lot of this. I think Peamount are kind of they're the team I call favourites for the title. They are they're just so technically good going forward, and they control the games as well. They you rarely. The last game of last season was a bit of a blip, and it was it was a capitulation. I don't think there's any other word for it. But it's very rare that they're not controlling the game in a game unless they're playing in and they don't have the Women's Champions League this time round to play in, so maybe it's possible that benefits them. Just that kind of lack of extra games, but look, I think looking at Peamount, they control the game so well. They're very good going forward, and for me, they're favourites for the league. And you look at Dora Gorman scoring one of the goals this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Peamount are definitely a team to look out for. Finally, Shauna, Wexford came back to beat Athlone 2-1 with 2 second half goals. I'm sure Athlone will be majorly disappointed that they didn't get anything out of that game after the way that they played.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the game on Saturday, and when I looked at my phone Saturday evening, I just kind of thought maybe it was one of them days where Wexford couldn't hit barn door. But when I watched the game yesterday, I was really surprised at how well that Athlone played. They had a lot of the possession. I think they kind of limited Youth's chances. I think the proper chance for Youth came around the 60th minute. It was Rossi's strike from inside the box. Athlone, really, really energetic team, forced a lot of errors, hunted in packs. Their goal, I thought, was very, very well worked. And they had a few other chances as well. I think they just kind of, I suppose, that lack of experience, so to speak, that maybe Wexford have, Athlone are lacking, but they'll definitely take a bit of hope from the game and know that they can put those performances in against the top sides. I think in terms of Wexford, they were missing the likes of Adele Kennedy and Lauren Dwyer, who, last season were phenomenal for them. So I wouldn't maybe read too much into the performance from them. But again, like Ellen Malloy, it's going to be a massive season for her. When times are going tough, she steps up, and a fantastic, well-worked free kick. But, she was really trying to make things happen as the game went on. You could see she just was pushing higher up the pitch, and her work rate increased. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what Ellen can do this year, because I think if she can hit form, and they can obviously keep Kylie playing and on form, and the likes of Tegan Lynch that stepped up, and Della Doherty as well, there's no reason why they won't become favourites as the season goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, look, as it's the first WNL wrap of the season, I'm going to ask you both, and Sean, I'll come to you first. Who do you think are going to be the league winners?
My heart will always say Shells, but I think just based on how Peamount have started, and the fact that I think they do have a point to prove this year. I know I'd be going into every game thinking about what happened last season. That'll give them, I think, a bit of extra push. I'm going to say Peamount. Great
stuff. And Kieran, what about you?
Look, I'm Peamount with the DLR. I have two ways. The experience of doing it, they're going to have the chip on their shoulder of letting it go last season. They probably should have won the league season. I think they probably should have. I mean, they were 2-0 up on the last day of the season. I think I think they had I think they have every chance of winning it again this season. For me, DLR Waves have the best squad depth in the season. So if they can click, I'm gonna go with the outsider and say the Waves. I think that's not a surprise to anyone who follows Post Sport that I'm saying DLR Waves, but I'm always gonna be Waves till I die. But I think it depends. There's two ways of looking at it. Peamount have that experience of doing it. Waves don't have the experience of doing it. They're still quite a young team, as I said. There's a lot of players there under 25. And then you look at it, that can be a lack of experience when it comes to the title run-in, or that can mean they're fearless when it comes into the title run-in. Look, I'm going to go with my heart and say DLR Waves rather than my head and say Peamount.
Brilliant. So both Peamount. So it's going to be very interesting anyway when we get to the end of the season if that comes true. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you about soon.